Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So, I've been focusing a lot recently on what I consider to be the crux of the issue on the left. Like all of the sparring, all of the fights, all of the back and forths, all of the people being, bent out of shape, myself included sometimes, boils down to what I think is the crux of the argument. The main thing. And I think that main thing was expressed in this kind of overt way, or this materialistic way, in the Hillary Clinton Foundation, or Clinton election in 2016. The primaries between Sanders and Clinton. And for that matter, even Clinton and Trump. Now, the reason I say this is because lefties were presented with a choice. Do I pick Sanders? Do I pick Clinton? Now, lefties picked Sanders. That wasn't really a choice. But when you got down to the main election, lefties were presented with a choice. This person cheated your candidate. And this person is in no way representative of your values. Do you vote for her because you're terrified of Donald Trump? Or do you vote Jill Stein, the person who actually you believe represents your interests? Or in this case, some people voted Trump out of spite. But essentially, what do you do? Do you vote out of fear because I'm terrified of that guy? Or do you vote who you actually want? I voted for Jill Stein because I wanted Jill Stein. She was the person who represented my interests. Whether Jill Stein won or not was besides the point. It's my vote. I get to do with my vote what I want. Jill Stein represents my interests. If everybody voted for the person who represented their interests, they would have a fundamentally different country. Now, the strategy of some, particularly the Dem Inter crowd, is you don't have a choice. Yes, she cheated our candidate, but at the end of the day, that person is better off. In incremental ways, this Democrat is least worse. Least worse. So that's the argument that you end up with. Now, this argument works in the confines of one election cycle, meaning if you're looking specifically at one election cycle, yeah, that makes sense. But when you look over a 30-year scope, the argument fundamentally fails. It fails on its face. Do you believe that the people who believe in voting some hack in office and then pushing them, screaming at them, bitching at them, and moaning at them, do you believe that's worked? Do you believe that the country has not drifted further to the right? Have they gotten the revolution that they believe that they were going to get by voting for one corporatist hack after the next corporatist hack? I'm asking, has their world changed in a way where you can see the positive benefits of the strategy of, I don't like the random Democrat who's put up, but okay, I'll vote for this corporatist hack? Has that served you well? Has it served unions well? Are there less people getting shot in the face by cops? Is there still mass surveillance? Are we still bombing left and right? Has the Democratic Party moved to the right? And the answer is, of course, manifestly yes. So this particular strategy of voting people in office and pushing them and bitching and moaning at them and screaming at them and calling them bad names, that doesn't seem to have worked. You seem to be worse off than you were prior. Now, I make this point of saying that the arguments and the debates that take place fundamentally take place on the right. You have two right-wing parties in this country. Now, the left, a faction of the left, not entirely lost that argument. I can't say they lost the argument, but they lost a lot of converts on that argument in this particular election because they felt so ashamed to have to go in there and pull the lever for Hillary Clinton when this person in no way represented their values and cheated their person. It was indignity on both fronts. Now, the point I've made is Hillary Clinton losing presents an opportunity, and that your strength in this is being willing to say no, to say this is the line that I'm willing to go. I'm not willing to vote for anybody that does not represent my interests. No, it doesn't mean I need to agree with each and every point, but that person should not cross some red lines. This is where I stand. You come get my vote, or you leave me to my devices, but you're not getting my vote if you don't represent my interests. Now, this is not any kind of cartoonish thing of going after Donald Trump by, you a lefty and you vote for Donald Trump because you want to spite Democrats. This is just an honest vote. This is who I want. I'm voting for this person because this person represents my interests. My point here, though, is doing that forces the party to either change or to die. And I understand it's a hellish ride for the party to die and have Republicans take office. But you understand that you are consistently moving further and further to the right. You are no longer co-equal parties, whether you're talking about unions or blacks or Hispanics. You're essentially hostages. Ultimately, you Democrats look at you and tell you you have nowhere else to go. Yes, I slap you. Yes, I beat you. Yes, I hit you. I know you have to go to your friends sometimes and tell them you walked into a door, that you're clumsy and lazy. Yes, I'm a crack addict, alcoholic. Yes, all those things are true. And you may bitch and moan at me, but at the end of the day, when I call you, you're going to make me a sandwich. That's you in a political context. You're the guys married to the alcoholic drug addict that ultimately you may bitch and moan at it on your shows and all this other stuff. You may cry and complain, but at the end of the day, they get your vote. You make their ham sandwich for them. Now, I'm saying the only reason you do this is because they look you in the face anytime that you get a little ornery and they tell you you have nowhere else to go. And you accept that line of argument of, you're right, we have nowhere else to go. We must continue to do this in perpetuity. One concentration camp less. I'm saying that works only because you accept the premise. Yes, it's true that you have nowhere else to go, but they can't necessarily get elected if you don't necessarily fall in line. Meaning your fear and cowardice of Republicans in this case allows yourself to be cowed by the party itself. Meaning it's not you who's in control of the party, it's the party who's in control of you. You're terrified of Republicans, meaning you allow Democrats to do whatever they want when they get into that office. It's not that blacks love Democrats in this. It's not that lefties who voted for Hillary Clinton loved Hillary Clinton or Democrats. Many made that vote in shame. They were terrified. That is a fundamentally different relationship. Understand the position of unions, and I was making this argument earlier. It's one thing when the union and the Democratic Party are co-equal partners. We're working together for our particular aims, and both of us are trying to do XYZ. Our aims are in alignment. It is a fundamentally different conversation when Democrats can be apathetic towards you and ultimately know that because you're so terrified of Republicans that you would take this apathy as some form of love. Oh, he's so apathetic towards me. Basking in his apathy. Basking in the apathy. I guess I'm asking, when do you get tired of that status? And when do you get to the point of saying, I'm done? I'm done. If that means Republicans win because you don't want to toe an agenda that's more philosophically in line with your base, but also philosophically in line in what that particular party was supposed to be under like an FDR type president. We're not going to be complicit. You're not going to get our vote just because we're terrified of the other guy. Standing with a fair amount of integrity and a fair amount of bravery saying, we're not doing this. We're standing in unison on this. It breaks that model. It breaks it in one or two ways. Either the party dies or the party changes. Yes, I understand. You don't necessarily want your crack-addicted alcoholic boyfriend that doesn't wash his hands and that beats you. I know you don't want him hurt. You believe he has a good heart and all this other stuff. But in many respects, you enable him to be that way. Meaning you enable the party to behave in the way the party functions. You enable that party, Democratic Party, to act that way. You enable the boyfriend to slap you and to beat you. You enable it. You're complicit in the behavior itself. You're complicit in the behavior. Standing in unison with the people who are saying, I'm done. Saying, I am done, is the only capacity for change that you have. The model of voting that you guys have employed have essentially just voted one shill after the next, knowing full well that the Republicans are going to be more and more batshit crazy, or at the very least, matching the level of batshit crazy that they currently are at. Meaning the argument is always in perpetuity, you got to vote for the Democrat because the other person is insane. You got to vote for the Democrat because the other person is insane. You've been gamed. You're being gamed. Both parties are fundamentally corrupt. Both parties are fundamentally paid by the same people. You have a duopoly. If both parties are working for the same people, you have a duopoly. And it just so happens that in this particular duopoly, you want to run one branch of plutocrats to protect you from the other. It's like you run from one fox to protect you from one of the other foxes or bigger fox. My argument has been no is the only argument that gets you anything. In unison. in solidarity of no, this is my fundamental level. This is where we stand. You come to us or you don't come at all. That's the only thing that ever gets you changed. That's literally the only position that gets you change. Anything else is being complicit. Anything else enables. Taking your activism and whatnot, and I have something to show. Take your activism. It doesn't work. It doesn't matter. And yes, I understand, and I don't want to undermine activism on this point. I'm saying, if they know that you're going to bitch and moan and complain and everything else, but they know at the end of it you're going to vote for them, meaning it's nothing that we can do to fuck this up. They're so terrified that they're going to vote for us regardless. Then what does your activism do? Your activism does nothing. It's neutered just from the fear and the cowardice and the necessity that you associated yourself with the party. If I'm right, though, shouldn't I see some kind of gains? Meaning, if my argument is right, and that if people leave the party, that the party has to change, doesn't have a choice. Either it dies or it has to change. Then you should be seeing something to that effect. Now, I would make the point to you that the Unity Commission is a massive fucking achievement. Now, yes, it's a dog and pony show, but at the very least, they're doing a dog and pony show, meaning the fact that they felt that they need to do it in the first place to some degree is an aspect of we're aware that this is an issue. Of course, they're going to test your resolve on the issue, meaning, yes, it's going to be a dog and pony show. The next thing becomes more for you to see whether or not you accept that they're giving you a dog and pony show, meaning, are you still willing to not be in the party itself? All of this stuff is based on trying to pull people back into the party, back into the political apparatus, without changing anything. Yes, they're giving you a dog and pony show. But no, they don't necessarily want to change anything. They just want your votes. They want you back into the system. Donna Brazile on Tim Black. Donna Brazile smoothing it up with Numika Kantz. Joe Manchin, TYT. Again, more evidence of this. They lost 15 million people from that party. People left that party like they were running from a burning bus. And they understood that. They were perfectly aware of that. They lost 1,100 seats, or 1,000 seats all throughout the United States. They understood the magnitude of their failure, but understand it's the failure that has Joe Manchin on TYT. Do you honestly believe that Joe Manchin would be on TYT if he didn't have to be on TYT? He is terrified that he is going to lose that race because they realize that there has been a sea change. Something has fundamentally changed in what people are willing to accept in politicians. One more thing. This story. Booker to stop accepting donations from corporate PACs. Senator Cory Booker said Tuesday night he would no longer accept campaign contributions from corporate PACs, joining several other Democratic lawmakers. I heard from constituents today asking about the corporate PAC donations. I'm joining several of my colleagues and no longer accepting these contributions, Booker tweeted. I thank Stop Big Money for their work. It's time to pass campaign finance reform. The New Jersey senator's announcement comes hours after an aide from senior Senator Kirsten Gillibrand confirmed she stopped accepting donations from corporate PACs as of January 1st. Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, Maria Cantwell of Washington, along with Senator Bernie Sanders, have also pledged not to accept corporate PAC donations. Booker, Gillibrand, Sanders, and Warren are all considered potential candidates for the 2020 race. Tell me something. If Hillary Clinton won this election, do you honestly believe that these guys would have stopped accepting campaign donations? Do you honestly believe it? The point I'm making here is the reason why they're doing this is because they're feeling pressure. Some of these guys want to run in a race in coming up in 2020. They understand that their base is going to fundamentally reject anything that it considers suspect. And one of those things, one of those points that people have made as their bar, as their line, is corporate donations. The reason why they're doing this is not because of people who are enabling them, not because of people who are complicit, not because of people who voted for Hillary Clinton, not because of people who vote for the random Democrat in 2020. It's because of the people who won't. This is them trying to get your vote. This is the thing that people say when they say standing in unison with no, it's talking about. in one case after the next. The changes, whether you want to think of this cosmetic or otherwise, but those changes were done. The positions that these people were taking. Some of these people were talking about healthcare, meaning Medicare for all. Why do you think they're doing this? Do you think they're doing this out the kindness of their heart? Or do you think they're doing this because they feel like we don't have a chance without these things? Because we will not get the votes of certain people. Meaning it's not this thing where we can take these votes for granted right now. It's because, oh my God, those people are willing to let us fail. They don't like us. They don't trust us. They're willing to let us fail. Your power in this is with the no. Your power in this is what I'm willing to stay with. You come to me or you don't come at all. Come to me or you don't come at all. That's what's getting changed. Not the enablers. That's what's getting changed. Your capacity to willing to stand in your power and say no. I don't like you. I don't believe what you're telling me. And ultimately, I have red lines. And if you trespass on those red lines, you would not get my vote, even if that means Donald Trump wins an election. That gets you change. Being complicit just gets you the same thing that you've always gotten. If Hillary Clinton would have won this election, none of this would have been up for conversation. None of this would have been up for debate. We wouldn't be talking about Russia. We wouldn't be talking about Syria, like talking about the world. All these people would have went to sleep. And Hillary Clinton would have done similar things that Trump is doing now. All right, I'll leave it at that. It went a little too long in the beginning. I should have gotten to this article faster, but it makes my basic point. Hopefully some people stayed. This argument on the left, man, is a big deal, though. This is not a trivial matter. Like, this matter boils down to whether or not you want to actually have a strategy to change things, or whether or not you stay with the same old status quo, trying to achieve radical change, doing the most modest and mundane of things. This is fucking fantastic. It's like we're trying to get to space and we have this motor vehicle. If we keep driving on this road, we'll hit the moon eventually. We'll hit the moon. All right. I'll leave it at that. All right, guys. If you enjoy the content, feel free to share, like, subscribe, and of course, you can always support Patreon. Thanks, guys.